Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido Loca, and I'm here today to talk about elevator etiquette. That's right everybody, we're going to talk about the ups and downs of elevators and elevator etiquette. I got some etiquette for you and I got a few tips. Yeah, we'll see if we can get everybody informed. Now, maybe in your day-to-day life you don't have to ride an elevator, and so you don't really know what the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the rights and wrongs of elevator etiquette is, but on a cruise ship it is something that you will encounter. Unless you're going to walk from the bottom of the ship to the top of the ship every time you go somewhere, you're going to have to ride an elevator. And it can be one of the more frustrating activities on a cruise ship. But first, let me start off with this. Let me show you some footage here. This is some footage that I took. This is not what you want to see when an elevator door opens. Now rest easy. This was not on a cruise ship. This was actually at my office a few weeks ago, and nothing more unsettling than working on the 12th floor. And the elevator door opens and there's a deluge of water pouring into the elevator. Now fortunately it was just a pipe break above us, and they were able to take care of it, but it was a little scary there for a bit. I doubt you will ever see that on a cruise ship. Alright, let's get into the etiquette. The first piece of etiquette I want to give you is don't crowd the elevator door. You walk up to the elevator, you push the up or down button, you're patiently waiting to get on the elevator. It has to click in your mind that there may be somebody on the elevator. This is important because if you're on the elevator and you're trying to get off, and as soon as you make a move for the door, you get run over by people that are trying to get onto the elevator, it's frustrating. So if you're the person waiting on the elevator, you've got to determine how much space you need to give for people to get off the elevator, and you also have to time it, right? The elevator door opens, I don't see anybody, maybe they're around the corner. Some people like to hang out by the buttons. You got to give it like a 1 Mississippi, a 2 Mississippi to make sure nobody's coming off the elevator, because there's nothing more awkward than meeting face to face with somebody trying to leave the elevator. And guess what? The person on the elevator does have the right of way. So don't crowd the elevator door, and that's going to be the beginning of the elimination of some of these elevator problems. That one piece of advice there. Also, if you have small kids with you, you got to make sure they don't crowd the elevator door. I do have an ethical dilemma regarding crowding the elevator door. I'm going to bring that up at the end. Make sure you stay with me because I need your help solving this one. But etiquette tip number 1, do not crowd the elevator door. Alright, tip number 2, when you enter the elevator, move to the back of the elevator. Now this is going to make it easier for anybody else that's trying to get on the elevator. These are small spaces. You may get stopped on another floor, somebody else getting on. Another awkward deal is standing right in the front of the elevator and somebody else trying to get on. Just as a rule of thumb, as a best practice, when you get on the elevator, go as deep into it as possible. Make sure you hit your button on the way, but go toward the back so that more people getting on have a space to go and they don't have to walk around you to get to the back of the elevator. Etiquette tip number 2, move to the back of the elevator. Closely related to that is if you are in a crowded elevator and you happen to be the person by the door and the elevator stops on a floor that's not where you're going, step off the elevator. Now keep your hand there so the door doesn't close, you know, whatever you got to do so you don't lose the elevator. But if people have followed the rule to go to the back of the elevator, there might be somebody behind you that needs to get off the elevator. And instead of trying to do the elevator shuffle from side to side, it's much easier just to step off the elevator and let the person get off. Okay, elevator etiquette tip number 4, and this one is super important. Make way for people with mobility issues. I've seen this on a cruise ship more than once, where somebody will be using a walker or a cane, might be in a wheelchair or a scooter, and people do not make way for people with mobility issues. It's so crazy. I don't understand it. I know everybody has many things to do, but in those circumstances where people have mobility issues, you should give them the priority. I don't think that's speaking out of school. I don't think that's a weird concept, but I do see people violating it over and over. You obviously see the person with the cane or the person in the scooter and you're like, nope, I'm holding my place in line, I'm getting on this elevator first. It's just kind of I don't know, it's a wacky thing to do. So, etiquette rule number 4, make way for people with mobility issues, give them a priority. All right, so the last two, maybe a little fun, maybe they hit home, but etiquette tip number 5, don't push all the buttons. Now, I know it was fun when we were younger to hit every button on an elevator and jump off and see the terror on the person's face who just got on when they realize that they're going to stop at every floor. Tensions run high on the elevator, and as much fun as you may get out of pulling that prank, it's really not good for the person that you pulled it on. So just, a little dad talk here. Don't push every button on the elevator. And the number 6 little etiquette tip I want to give, do not pass gas in the elevator. Again, it's kind of fun. It's fun to play whodunit. Was it me? Was it you? Look, it's not the place. It's a small confined space. You don't know who's going to be ultra sensitive to smells, and especially that smell. I understand. I'm sure many of you people are crop dusters out there. If you don't know what crop dusting is, it's like being in Target and kind of letting one go in a long aisle and then watching somebody walk into it. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of space in Target. I'm not saying that you should be a crop duster, but definitely don't be the person that lets one go in the elevator cabin. It's dangerous. All right, that's the etiquette. Let's move on to just some straight tips. I've got 3 tips for you that are going to make your elevator experience better on the cruise ship. Number 1 is scout out the elevator layout on your cruise ship and know where the crowds are. I am a big advocate of knowing where the crowds are. It applies to elevators. So, number 1, the atrium elevators, the elevators in the center of the ship, in my experience, always the most busy elevators on the cruise ship any time of the day. And so try to learn where the elevators are, try to understand which ones aren't crowded, and then use those when you can. It will save you a lot of frustration at the elevator area. Number 2, riding the elevator is a social interaction. I know it seems weird, I know you can get on, never speak to anybody, but the reality is you're in close proximity with other people. And so you have to have some people skills, and one thing that a buddy of mine told me that always sticks with me is that people are voice activated. And so it's a lot less stressful when you're riding the elevator, when you know you're going to have to be shoulder to shoulder with somebody, to smile, to say, how's it going? How's your cruise? And it seems like once you get that little dialogue going, everything falls in place. Hey, can I get that button for you? Let me move over a little bit. There's nothing more uncomfortable than a bunch of silent people on the elevator trying to figure out who should move forward, who should move back, what floor you're on. Just remember that people are voice activated. Remember that riding the elevator is a little bit of a social thing, and adjust accordingly. Talk to your neighbor. It'll work out better. The number 3 tip here, this is a tip that we picked up from former cruise director Jamie D on the Carnival Paradise. I'm going to let her give the tip. This is from the morning show on the Carnival Paradise when we went to Cuba. Take it away, Jamie D.
I will tell you a secret that will change your life. You know, when you're in the elevator corridor and you hear the elevator and everybody goes to run to see if the elevator's going their way, you don't need to do that. Because if it dings once, the elevator is going up. If it dings twice, the elevator is going down. You can remember because up is a smaller word and it's 1 ding, and down is a bigger word and it's 2 dings. So there you go. Now you can hear the ding and you can know if it's going in your direction, and you can laugh at the people running.
Yeah, so that's a tip that we have used ever since we heard it. A lot of times you hit that elevator corridor where all the elevators are, you push your button, and then there's like 5 or 6 elevators, and you're just worried that your elevator's not going to be close to you, and so you hear the ding. Is that mine? Is it going up or down? Such a great tip. If you're going up, you're listening for 1 ding. If you're going down, it's you're listening for 2 dings, and those correspond with the length of the words up and down. The short word up, 1 ding. The long word down, 2 dings. I know that this is true on Carnival Cruise Lines. I know this is true on Princess Cruise Lines. I'm not sure about the others. If you have experienced this thing with the dings corresponding to up and down, leave a comment below for other cruise lines. Let us know if it's like that on Royal, MSC, Norwegian, all of them. Help the people out. All right, and so back to my dilemma of whether or not to crowd the elevator door. I believe you should not. I believe that you've got to figure out what the right distance away from the door is to make sure that people can get out unobstructed, but that you can still get in the elevator. Now let's add to that 4 or 5 more people eyeballing the same elevator door. Say you do the right thing, say you back off of the elevator, say that you get plenty of room for people to get out, but what about the other people that are waiting on the elevator? What if you look over at them and they're inching closer? Like they're gonna obstruct people getting out of the elevator, and what if they got like a bunch of people with them? Do you risk missing the elevator by providing enough room for the people to get out? Or is it dog eat dog? Is it you against them, against the next person? And for the person on the elevator, it's like, sorry man, I've got like people I'm competing with to get on this elevator. You're just gonna have to squeeze by me. What do you do? I'm conflicted. It's a tough call, and you're gonna run into it from time to time on the cruise ship, especially like on embarkation day. Leave a comment below and let me know what you would do. Anybody? Any takers? The door opens yet nobody gets on. That's elevator luck, folks. Alright guys, those are my ups and downs of elevator etiquette. A little etiquette, a few tips. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully it's informative, maybe entertaining. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to Lido Loca, we make all kinds of videos like this, plus cruise vlogs and a whole lot more. Hit the subscribe button with the notification bell on. And if you want to continue the conversation, come on over to the Lido Loca cruising community on Facebook. It's where the Loca fam lives. We have a lot of fun over there. Everybody's invited. Come join with us. But again, my name's Tony. This is Lido Loca. And until the next time, see you on the Lido. Bye.